everybody, so today I am back with Amanda and we are going to be answering your hot questions. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just gonna be a Q&A with Amanda. We got some good ass questions, so we're just gonna sit here and talk and answer your questions, and if you want to see more of Amanda, hit that subscribe button and hit that like button and go follow her on Instagram. Okay, sweet, thank you. So let's just start off hot. First question is, in your opinion, what does an orgasm feel like? It's interesting to hear from other girls.
Great. Really great.
10 out of 10 would recommend.
Yeah, 12 out of 10.
It's like, you know when you hear a song and you start singing to it and your whole body gets chills? It's like that, but like if you could concentrate that and like inject it like a drug in your vagina.
Yeah. Like your favorite song comes on in your favorite place and your favorite people are there, and that like overjoyed feeling, that but like in your vagina.
Yes, that overwhelming like wow, this is great.
Yeah, it's literally like your vagina being like whoa,
like your vagina has all of its favorite friends over and is jamming to its favorite songs. Yeah, or whatever bits you have. I'm sure it feels the same no matter what bits you have.
Yeah, we can only speak from the perspective of a vagina.
We're both cis women.
Yeah.
So, with vaginas. So, this is from our perspective. Ooh, next question. I love this question so much and it's so important. How do you keep your how do you keep yourself in check when it comes to being an effective ally? Also, love you. I love you so much. For me, being an effective ally is a lot of education, a lot of listening and not talking, and a lot of thinking and rethinking your thought processes. Really, like, where I struggle with most is like being an ally as a white woman, like being an ally to people of color, because I'm from such a fucking white area and I do not have a lot of experience with race issues. The most experience that I have in race issues is just studying them, being a sociology major and like having a bachelor's in sociology. And I really took that opportunity to learn as much as I could. Read Racism Without Racist if you want to be a good ally. It's so fucking good. But that's what it was for me, was just taking opportunity to realize I have white privilege. And I was sad that I had white privilege, so I was like, okay, what can I do to mitigate this so that I don't feel as much white guilt?
Yeah.
And like, also, I can help people and just help people that like are marginalized in communities.
I do a lot of reading. I love to read, and so reading as much as I can, and supporting people of color, supporting people from different minorities and all of that kind of thing. It's so important. I don't know, I think it's important to seek out like small businesses owned by women of color, like different people in minorities, because yeah, we just gotta love each other.
Also, when like speak up for
that's what I was gonna say.
You have to speak up as the white person, because the white people are the ones that have the most power. So like somebody, like especially because you know we're all talking about usually other white people. If we're talking about race issues, and if a person of color says this is problematic, this is why, and if people of color are trying to say, hey, this is problematic and this is why, you need white people to also be like, hey, this is problematic and this is why, because we're the ones that have the privilege.
Yeah. And also, when you see something problematic, say something. Like, if somebody makes a racist comment, just be like, yo.
Nope.
Big no.
Same with being a cisgender ally. Both of our partners are trans men, and obviously we are both part of the LGBT community, and like being a cisgendered ally is very important, especially with how much trans people are persecuted in this society. It's gross, and it's really, really important to call it out when you see it and be like, hey, that's not okay, and here's why. And you know, a lot of it is, in my experience, especially when, you know, when I was introducing Mason to people, and like Mason's very open about being trans. You go on his Instagram and it's very obvious. So he's very open about it, and for me it was just a lot of like education that needed to happen. People would say certain things and I'd be like, hey, that's a little problematic. I know you don't understand why it's problematic. Here's why it's problematic. So that Mason doesn't have to explain why it's problematic, because I can't even imagine how many times he's had to explain why something is problematic. So take the weight off of it a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, they've done it over and 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 over again. So, like, educate people.
Yeah, and also, you don't know if that could be triggering for some people. So, like, I don't know, in my opinion, and something that Mason and I talk about is, like, Mason's very much so, he would rather have somebody ask him the ignorant questions because he's not affected, and not as affected by those ignorant questions as somebody who maybe suffers from more severe dysphoria or is in the closet or whatever it is that could be super harmful and super triggering. So, I mean, as cis women, we understand, like, obviously we don't understand fully, but we have education on the topic, and we're not going to be triggered by it. So I feel like I have responsibility to teach people about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes time, but it's like that constant kind of conversation. It's like if a relative, for example, is very against something like that, just constant conversation and being like, hey.
Normalizing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And also not being afraid to be wrong. We may have just said something here, and if a person of color or if a trans person was like, maybe not this, and here's why, then I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
Sweet, you're the authority.
Absolutely.
Like, trans people are the authority on trans issues. People of color are the people of authority on racism issues.
Yes.
That was a hard one. So, not being afraid to be called out yourself, because obviously
nobody's perfect.
Yeah, I gotta work it again and again. I really liked this question. This has more to do with a video that I put up talking about my first time, but I'm sure you can chime in. How long did it take to get over what happened / how it happened for your first time? Do you still struggle with it sometimes? I experienced something similar, and it's been 2 years and it still eats at me sometimes. So for those of you that don't know, I put up a video talking about my first time. I will put it up in the cards, and basically my first time it was consensual, 100%, but I was pressured into it, and then I decided that I wanted to not have sex, and then I was basically pressured into it, and I was made to feel like I was a terrible girlfriend at 14, mind you. I was a terrible girlfriend for not having sex with my boyfriend, and so I just gave him head because it was basically guilt head. And I will say, like 2 years later, I was 14 when that happened, and I was not comfortable giving my boyfriend's head until I was like 19 or 20. Like, I still had so much resentment towards blowjobs when I was 19 and 20, and that was 4 or 5 years later. It takes a lot of retraining and getting comfortable with it again, but like, you're definitely still gonna feel it. That was your first time. That's so impactful.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know what age this person was at, but especially for me at 14, like, I was learning so much, and so for that to happen at such a young age, I was really like, I hated giving head. And like, people will say what they will about giving a cis man head, but when you're with the right partner, it should be enjoyable. And I did find it enjoyable when I had a good, healthy partner. But like, when you don't have that like healthy side of it behind it, it's not fun.
My first time went very quickly. It was just kind of like on the couch 1 minute and then in bed the next. I don't regret anything, and it was consensual. I mean, I regret some things, but that's okay.
We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Because you live and you learn.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, of course, you're still going to be affected by it, but time heals most wounds.
Yeah.
If not all wounds.
And like, also I think it's really important to just like feel what you're feeling and like cope with it and work through it and address it.
You can't move past something if you don't address something.
Yeah. So,
yeah. My bestie Alicia asked, why do you think feminism gets a bad rep sometimes? Because people don't get what feminism is. They don't have education on feminism. They see feminists, and the best analogy I heard was that like they were like, I don't understand why men get all up in arms about feminism. Like, rights aren't like pie. If women get more rights, it's not going to take away less rights for men. Women are just going to get more rights.
Yep.
And, I mean, I feel like that kind of dialogue, I don't hear it as much. Like, I don't hear a lot of the, like, feminists are just, like, man haters, blah, blah, blah.
I would like to say I think that is because of the area that we're in. Because when I was in Texas, granted this was years ago, but, like, we're in a really good area where, like, that conversation...
I'm talking about on social media, though. In my hometown, I didn't hear a lot of that either, but on social media, I feel like that's really where I'm talking about is social media, because I feel like 3-4 years ago on social media, it was, like, a bad word. Like, feminist was a bad word. And I feel like it's not... Yeah. Maybe it just got gobbled up with... Maybe that issue just got gobbled up with all the rest of the bullshit that is happening right now. But I don't know. I don't see it... I just don't see it as much on social media. But that doesn't mean that it's not there, because obviously it's still there.
I also think it's like... If your feminism doesn't include every kind of woman or every kind of person... anybody, then it's not feminism.
If your feminism isn't intersectional, it ain't fucking feminism.
Yes.
If you call yourself a feminist, but you don't believe trans women are women, you're not a fucking feminist. If you're a feminist, but you don't believe that women of color should have as many rights as white women, you're not a fucking feminist. Like,
disabled women,
disabled women,
people.
Yep, non-binary people.
You have to support everybody.
Boys, fucking support boys. Like. Support toxic emotional men. Yeah, get away from toxic masculinity.
Big yuck.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. What is your number one self-care tip? Make time for self-care.
Yes. Yeah. You have 20 minutes to sit on Instagram before bed. You have 20 minutes to self-care. Whatever that looks like.
Masturbate.
Yeah.
Take a bath.
Yeah. Do a face mask. Fold your laundry. Eat some food.
Brush your teeth.
Yeah, even if it's like halfway. I think I said this last time we did a video. Like, even if you halfway did it, you still did it, so good for you.
But I think that's the thing that most people do is, like, I need to self-care, but, like, they don't make it a priority. And, like, you need to make it a priority.
Yeah.
And that's honestly, like, my biggest self-care tip is make time for it. And don't put it on the back burner.
No. Because you're valuable and you're important and you deserve it.
It's true.
Yeah.
Sex toy recommendation for a couple that doesn't have any. My biggest, like... When I introduced a vibrator into my sex life when I was dating a cis man, woo, buddy. Obviously, Mason and I use toys all the time, but yeah, like introducing a vibrator, because I cannot have an orgasm just with G-spot stimulation. I have to have clitoral stimulation. For the longest time, I thought I was just broken and I couldn't have an orgasm, but that changed the game. I don't really have any other ones, because we didn't, like, I mean, I never used, like, cock rings or anything like that, and, like...
I don't have any experience either.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry.
But I start with a vibrator. Start small. Vibrators, really, really easy. Get something that's soft, because, from experience, if you get something that's hard, and it's right here, and then something else is, whether it's a hand or any other object, is banging into you here, then your skin can pinch, and it's not fun.
No.
That was not our last question about sex toys either, don't worry, we have more. I should have really organized these, because there's a lot of questions that are about similar things, but it's fine. Body positivity. How to keep going when you're your own worst enemy.
Relatable. Relatable. That's so hard. That's something that I, like, really struggle with, because, like, body positivity is such a roller coaster for me. I'm like, yes, I am thick queen, look at me, I'm great, and then the next minute I'm just like, I need a big hoodie and to go home. And so I think, like there's that saying, fake it till you make it, but fake it until you become it. So even if you don't feel it, like, look in front of the mirror and just be like, I am beautiful. Even if you don't believe a single word you say, just keep saying it, because then you're gonna start believing it. And also surround yourself with people who love you and remind you that you are beautiful.
Yep, absolutely. Mine 100% fake it till you make it. Fake it till you become it.
Yeah.
That's what I did. If you go back on my personal Instagram, those first, for the first, 6 months that I was posting body positive pictures, I didn't I hated those pictures. I was like, oh, wow. Like, look at my rolls, look at my stretch marks, blah, blah, blah. Wow, my waist is gone, blah, 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 blah. Like, I did not believe it, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make myself. And now, like, of course I have bad days, but I'm so much more, like, it's not even like, I'm so much more confident because I've always been confident, but I don't even think about it as much anymore.
Yeah, it, like, you shouldn't, I don't know, because, like, at the end of the day, if a tank top is going to make you super happy and you hate the way your arms look in it and so you don't wear your favorite tank top, fuck that. Wear your favorite tank top.
Wear your fucking favorite tank top.
It doesn't matter if you have freaking cactuses growing out of your arm. Love them.
Yeah.
I love them.
They're your cactuses.
Yes.
Cactuses are cool.
Yeah.
You can spike your enemies with them.
Beautiful.
And then the same person said also talk about learning how to make friends with people and learning to trust again. Ooh, making friends as an adult is hard. Like, making friends when you're not in high school and used to your standard friend group is really, really hard. And I mean, I struggled with that when I moved away from home. Amanda was the first close friend that I had besides my boyfriends at the time. And I was in that town for 2 years before I met her. And like, it was miserable. It was hard. It takes a lot of time. But I think it's a listen to your gut thing. Like, Amanda just came up to me and asked if we wanted to be friends, or she wanted to be friends. And now look at us 2 years later, we have each other's little initials tattooed. And I don't know, it's a trusting your gut. Learning how to trust again is hard. Yeah. But it takes a lot of communication, and like, I'm mostly speaking from relationships, like learning how to trust again in relationships when you've been burned before.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of communication. It takes a lot of trusting your gut. And it takes a lot of vulnerability. That was hard for me to say. Vulnerability.
But there's also, like, strength and vulnerability as well. Because it takes a lot to be vulnerable and, like, express your emotions and express your needs. But there's so much strength in that, and it just makes life a lot easier when you are vulnerable, even though it can be really hard.
But also, your mind is going to play out the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And what is it? Georgia from My Favorite Murder, like, she talked about one thing that her psychiatrist did was like the rule of 5 or something. It's like your worst case scenario, and then you have to name 5 other scenarios that could come of it that are better. So you have your one worst case scenario, and then maybe it's the rule of 6. I can't remember. Somebody is going to tell me below in the comments, but you have your one way that you think it's going to work out that is the worst way, and then you have to name 5 other ways that it could turn out that aren't as bad as that one. Yeah. So, I mean, especially in learning how to trust somebody again, you're going to think, they're going to hurt me again. They're going to do this. They're going to do this. They're going to do this. But what if they don't? But what if they do this? What if they do this? What if they do this? All those situations are just as likely as the one that you're probably obsessing over right now.
Yeah.
We both have anxiety, so we understand the obsessing over something that you don't even know is going to happen.
Yeah.
This is a really, really good question. Could you talk about how queer identity in your relationship with a trans guy? My relationship with my trans BF is read as hetero by others, and it makes me feel less queer. That's a hard one.
That is a hard one.
I think for me, it really has to come from within. I, came out essentially last year, and I have dated cis men since I was 14. So I really felt very out of place and very not wanting to claim anything. I didn't want to take my piece of the rainbow pie because I felt like I didn't earn it, which is weird. I understand people, I was never bullied as a kid because I was gay. You know what I mean? I didn't have to go through that. But also, I still am in the community, and for me it takes a lot of not worrying about what everybody else thinks of your queer identity. It's yours, and it's yours for a reason. We have our identities. It doesn't matter what other people think about your identity.
I completely agree. I mean, I haven't been out very long, and my current boyfriend is my first relationship. So I don't know. I just feel, and I'm also very, very lucky and very privileged to have a lot of really close friends that are queer. And so when I did come out, people were like, yes,
queen.
Yeah. So
same, for sure.
I'm not really sure. I'm still kind of grasping my queer identity, I guess. Like, I've never gone to a pride event. I haven't done all of these things. So I guess in my position, I'm still like learning how to express my queer identity.
Just because I claim myself as pansexual. If Mason and I were to break up and I was to date a cis man, I'm still pansexual. I still am attracted to pretty much anybody as long as I'm attracted to them. And that's why you can't really worry about what other people think about your identity. I mean, it's like worrying about what other people think about how you look, or what people think about the fashion choices that you make. It's yours. Yeah. It's not for anybody else but you. So I would just encourage you, if you feel like you want to be more a part of your community, reach out to your local community. Maybe volunteer at a PFLAG event, go to Pride, just go, if you're over 21, check out your local gay bars and like get involved with the community more, because that's something that has helped me a ton, really feeling like I'm a part of my community. It's like, we go to our local gay bar and like, it's our community. We've gotten to know the people there, and like, it feels like home, and it's really cool. Everybody likes having a community. So if you're struggling with it, I would just reach out to the community around you.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do I become more sex positive? I'm there in theory, but not in practice / still uncomfortable. I think it just takes practice.
Yeah.
Just like body positivity, it takes practice, and it takes just doing it. Like, the thing that helped me was posting more about sex on my personal Instagram and talking about it more openly. I think one thing that helps is just talking to your friends about it.
Yeah. That's what really got me comfortable with sex and being like sex positive and that kind of thing. I didn't have sex for the first time until this year, and I'm 24. So, but like talking with you and talking with other friends and like following Instagram accounts like Shop Spectrum Boutique or Wildflower Sex.
Yes, Shop Spectrum Boutique and Wildflower Sex. So good.
Yeah. Those are my top 2 like favorite.
Yeah. But they also share a bunch of like really good pages.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like so much knowledge was gained, and it kind of took away like the scary part of sex for me, which was really good. And just, I guess, being exposed to it more and talking more about it made me be like, this isn't scary, this is fun and natural. And I mean, not everybody wants to have sex, because that's okay too. But for those who do, it's not a scary thing.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the same with being body positive and having to unlearn the insecurities that have been ingrained in us. You have to unlearn sex is private, sex is bad, sex is taboo. Like, no. Sex is a staple of humanity, literally.
Yeah, and like, talking about it is good, because that's how you communicate better sex.
Better sex, safer sex.
Yeah.
Healthier sex.
Yeah. Healthier relationships with your partner.
Better sex.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's just, I don't know, if you're like uncomfortable being sex positive, try talking about sex with friends, because that's a very, very safe space to talk about it most of the time. I would hope so.
Yes.
And then, follow some Instagrams, follow some blogs, read some books, just like immerse yourself in it more. And it just takes a lot of time, honestly, because you have to unlearn so much stigma around sex. And it's awkward at first because everybody else has that stigma about sex. But like, I mean, I remember I was talking to a coworker about sex, which is like, whatever. But like, it's funny how like once you break that stigma, it's so normal to talk about. And that's how it should be. Yeah. But you have to get past that awkward, all right, we're going to talk about sex. And then it's like normal.
Yeah.
Let's answer this one because it's similar. How do you become more sex positive if you have some negative memories with sex? I think it's about reclaiming it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Because, like, I do have some negative associations with sex. Reclaim them. Yeah.
Which is easier said than done. Obviously, that takes a lot of time. Yeah. If you're truly struggling with it, reach out. You deserve to enjoy your sex life. So if you feel like it is something that you can't handle on your own, either get self-help books, reach out to a counselor. Psychology Today has a wonderful resource where you can find counselors in your area, and like again, with the self-care thing, make time for it because it's important.
Yeah. I think like reaching out to like a counselor or a therapist is something really important too, because I don't know, that doesn't just am I trying to say? You don't need to, like, hold on to that kind of, like, ugliness, I guess. It just, yeah. That being said, like, kind of going back to trauma, like, feel it. It's valid, and work through it, and it's going to take some time, and you might need some help, but
it's okay if you need help. Everybody fucking needs help.
Yeah.
Like, don't be ashamed of it. And my biggest thing is you deserve it. You deserve to enjoy it. So work on enjoying it. Whether, like, do what you need to do so that you can work past it and enjoy your sex life again, because you would deserve to enjoy your sex life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I yelled at Amanda to go to a counselor for so long because she deserves to treat herself fucking better. Yeah. And a counselor will help her do that. So, real life example, I actually yell at her all the time. I don't just say these things to my fucking YouTube followers. No. Y'all are my friends. I treat you the same as my best friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Does sex need... What? Does... Does a relationship need sex to thrive? Opinions. My opinion, sex is a personal thing. If you don't need sex to thrive yourself, then, and if your partner doesn't need sex to thrive, then absolutely not. Your, like, relationships don't need sex to thrive. People who are asexual have perfectly healthy relationships, and I'm sure they thrive in their relationships. Personally, I could not be in a relationship without sex and it thrive. Sex is so important to me, but that is my personal preference and shit and my belief system. So obviously, me being me, I would not pick a partner that, or like a partner who sex wasn't important to them. It probably wouldn't work out. But that's me. Like, you don't need it.
Yeah.
No.
I agree. I think, personally, I enjoy sex. So.
Putting it out there.
So, I mean, I would like a relationship that sex is involved. But that being said, I don't think, like, people in relationships that don't have sex are unhealthy or anything like that.
Yeah, or that they can't be healthy, happy relationships.
Yeah. So.
I don't think so. If you're that type of person, then obviously you don't need it, and so you don't need it. That's fine. Yeah. Cool. Don't have sex. Great. Lighten the mood. Zodiac signs. What are yours and Amanda's sun and moon signs? How comparable are you both? I'm a Capricorn, and my moon is in Cancer.
I am a Cancer, and my moon is in Cancer.
So emotional! Oh, this one's a good one, and this one is a touchy one, but it's important. Where does one draw the line between body positivity and encouraging an unhealthy lifestyle? I think it's separating. I don't think that they go together. No. I don't think, and I do not believe that I definitely do not believe that body positivity encourages an unhealthy lifestyle.
Also, body positivity isn't just for, like, curvier women or anything like that. It's for men and anybody, really. It's for thin women. Because, like, I had a friend in high school growing up who was constantly made fun of for being too skinny.
Oh, I'm sure we all know somebody. Eat a hamburger! Like,
yeah. And, like, men, like, oh, I'm not, like, lean enough. Like, oh, like, this and that. Like, men experience a multitude of, like, body image issues, which is pretty much overlooked.
Yeah.
And I think, like, it's important to recognize body positivity is about accepting the body.
Oh, no, biscuit. Oh, no, those are candles, Okay. Those are going away because you need to sit up there.
That was dramatic.
Yeah.
That was
oh my god, that was a lot. Also, like, the thing, when I read this question, I really thought about it for a while. And the thing that, like, stuck with me the most was, growing up, I was stick thin. Super, like, I was tiny. And my best friend was built larger. She was just always larger and has the same body type now. And we had the exact same fucking diet. We were kids. We had some homemade meals. We had top ramen. We had fucking mac and cheese. We had Otter Pops. Like, we ate the same. That was very much so middle class family life. Like, it was very standard. Again, you know, some home cooked meals, some box meals, ton of junk food because we were kids. But the thing is that nobody would look at me, the skinny, tiny one, and be like, oh, she's unhealthy. They would look at my friend because she was bigger. And like, that's where my problem with, oh, you're encouraging an unhealthy lifestyle. It's like, no, healthy doesn't just look like skinny. And like, skinny a lot of the times isn't healthy. You know, it can, there's so much of a mix that you can't just say fat people are unhealthy, and so fat people shouldn't love themselves because they're not taking care of themselves.
Or a fat person shouldn't wear a crop top.
Yeah, it's not just, like, you can't just say that skinny is healthy and fat is unhealthy because that's not true at all.
No, yeah, and it's a lot, like, you can't just be like, oh, like, this girl can't wear a crop top because she's fat. No. Anybody can wear whatever they want because they can, and that's just that.
And like I was talking to Amanda before we started filming, like, fat people have been told that they shouldn't love themselves literally for the long ass time.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna kind of no.
And like, also, weight gain isn't always associated with an unhealthy diet. Like, medications cause you to gain weight, surgeries, like, all kinds of things cause weight gain.
Yeah.
And so it's not always being like, fat isn't always needing to be associated with like an unhealthy lifestyle.
With gluttonous or like whatever it is.
Yeah. And also, like, going back to kind of what you were saying with you and your friend, it like looking at your friend and being like, oh, she has the unhealthy diet or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I used to struggle with an eating disorder. I'm fat. You don't look at me and be like, oh, she didn't eat in 3 days. Like, you wouldn't do that. Or if I lost a significant amount of weight, it was celebrated with me because I'm overweight. And so then I learned that unhealthy eating habits, i.e. not eating or binging and purging and that kind of thing, I learned unhealthy eating habits by like my eating disorder being celebrated because I'm fat. But if like one of my really thin friends stopped eating, it would be like, oh my God, are you okay? We need to help you. Which, yes, you do.
Need to, yeah.
But that should have been the same for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. So. And also for me, body positivity starts to love yourself, and when you start to love yourself, you should want to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean get skinny or like get fit. Like Body Positive Panda, she's fit.
Love her.
Yeah, Isakura, the model for American Eagle, fit as fuck. There's so many, like, that's what I'm saying. You can't just say that fat is unhealthy and skinny is healthy.
Or fat is ugly. Like, everybody is beautiful.
Yeah. This one was a good one and a little bit different. How do you approach pay inequality in a job that you aren't supposed to discuss wages? It's your job, you should be able to discuss your wages.
Also, that's your right. Like, it's not illegal to discuss wages.
No. It's awkward.
Yeah.
But do it. You should. And if you can't, go above that person. If you can't with your direct superior, go to their superior. Go to the HR. Go to wherever you need to. Don't settle for being paid less than what you're fucking worth. No. Yeah. So, just wanted to answer that question real quick, just in case anybody else was, because it's awkward to talk about money, but it's important.
Very. Because you're worth everything.
This one was another sex toy question. Getting comfortable using them alone or with a partner. Again, I will talk about this with like being naked, and like I talked about this in my like sex Q&A. I think you need to be comfortable using it on your own before you can explore it with a partner.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
If you're awkward about using a vibrator on yourself, how are you going to use it in front of your partner?
Yeah.
So I think with a partner, something that helped me was like putting a blanket over us. So that way, like, you can still use it. And, you know, the more comfortable you get with it, the more the blankets can kind of come off.
Yeah.
But that's something that helped me personally because like I said, I need a vibrator so that I can get off. So I felt really weird being like, is it okay if I... And then it's that awkward, like, oh, well, like, they're not doing enough or they're not doing it well enough. It's like, no, that's just how my body works, and this is just how I have the best orgasms. So let's do this.
And having that, like, open communication, too, is super important, because if you don't say anything, you're not going to have an orgasm. And like we talked about earlier, they're pretty great.
Yeah.
So...
they're pretty great. You deserve to have one.
Talk about it even if it's awkward.
Yep. What's the last song you sang in the shower? Probably Post Malone or Billie Eilish.
I just really got into King Princess. She's amazing. She's amazing. She's gay. We love her. But she has a song 1950 by King Princess, and I was singing that because it's a great song. But she has a lot of really great songs, and I like her a lot.
Yeah, I also really jam to Seven Rings in the shower. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh,
That is
yeah.
a shower jam. I've also been listening to a lot of Dancing Queen, which is the Cher album that's all covers of Mamma Mia songs. Ooh, I've been going so hard to that.
Lizzo. I just got into Lizzo.
Yep. Last question I want to talk about, or I want to answer, because there's a few we didn't get to, but last one I want to answer is, what makes you feel most beautiful?
Why is that a hard question?
There's like a list 10 miles long for you, so.
I guess, like, what makes me feel,
Biscuit. What makes you feel beautiful, Biscuit? That pillow makes her feel beautiful. Baby. It's so hard to escape, but just kind of half-heartedly.
feel most beautiful, I guess, when I think about my kindness. I don't know.
Yes. Don't say you don't know. Yeah.
I try very, very hard to always be very kind and to always be as caring as possible. And I think that makes me very beautiful. So yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like, the friends that I have, and, like, the people I love in my life consistently being there and being like, no, you're beautiful.
Yeah.
So.
One weird thing that makes me feel really beautiful is, like, hanging out with Mason always makes me feel beautiful. Like,
Yeah.
even, I don't know, it's really weird.
Seeing how Evan looks at me, yeah, that makes me feel really beautiful too.
It's so cute. Yeah. And then also knowing that I have put in the mental work to try to love myself more and seeing the benefits of that, that makes me feel the most beautiful.
Yeah.
Like those nights where you get out of the shower and like your hair is all wet and you catch like a naked glimpse of yourself in the mirror and you're like, I'm kind of cute. Like,
Oh yeah.
Those moments,
Oh yeah.
the best.
Oh yeah.
The best. And it's because we've put in work to where instead of catching that glimpse in the mirror and being like, oh, the cellulite, oh, the rolls, like, oh, I lost my waist, blah, 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 like, no. Flip it and reverse it.
Beautiful.
Damn.
Yep.
That ass. That ass. It was so much fun. Thank you guys for all of your questions. We didn't have a ton of questions, but the questions that we picked were we wanted to give in-depth answers.
Yeah.
So if you want to see a lighter Q&A or another one that's similar to this or a spin-off of one of these questions, comment down below. Let us know. I love you guys.
I love you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Can Amanda start her own channel? No.
What? I don't know what I would talk about.
Just talk.
I don't have
That's
any
all you
talents. What am I gonna
Excuse. Okay. I need to shut the camera off before I beat her. Anyways, I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in our next video.
Love you.
Bye.